While not every film stamped with the name Roger Corman is an amazing piece of cinematic history, or even enjoyable for that matter, many of them, however, have set the foundations for other films that came after, and changed the ways Hollywood approached filmmaking in general. Not to mention the copious amounts of blockbuster directors we have working today. Plenty of them got their start working on a low-budget trash piece for Corman. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Every new sub helps us achieve our goal and keeps us motivated to create new content. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are the 10 best Corman classics. Number 1. Humanoids from the Deep. Prime's description for 1980's Humanoids of the Deep reads, "Scientific experiments backfire and produce horrific mutations, half man, half fish, which terrorize a small fishing village by killing the men and raping the women." I mean, that pretty much sums up the film. Released as just Monster in Europe, Roger Corman was merely an uncredited executive producer on the film. Director Barbara Peters made her feature film debut with 1970's The Dark Side of Tomorrow, a softcore lesbian porn which she co-wrote and co-directed, so she seemed a perfect fit as a Corman collaborator. Peters' gruesome Humanoids from the Deep was unfortunately met with middling reviews, but nobody watches a Corman film for their cinematic pedigree. We watch them because we crave that bloody, over-the-top, campy, schlocky entertainment. I must warn viewers, though, cue the Sarah McLachlan song, because quite a few dogs are murdered in this film. I don't think John Wick would approve. Otherwise, Humanoids from the Deep is a gross-out, unintentionally funny, albeit entertaining little piece of B-rated monster cinema. I should also note that the score for Humanoids from the Deep was written by none other than the late acclaimed composer, James Horner. Yes, the very same guy who composed the soundtrack for Titanic. You can stream the film on Philo, Freevee, Fubu, Zumo, Tubi, Plex, AMC Plus, Fandango, and Prime. Number 2. Piranha. 1978's Piranha opens with two teens who have the bright idea of going skinny dipping in a holding pool in an abandoned military compound. Yep, that's a lot of stupid decisions made in that sentence. Needless to say, both of them become lunch for some unseen creature. But we all know what happened. Piranhas, obviously. Piranha follows Maggie McGowan in search of the missing teens. When her and a drunk Paul Grogan discover the pool, they drain it, revealing the teens' skeletons. This is how mutated military piranhas are released into the river and wreak havoc on the vacation town. Piranha was supposed to be a spoof or knockoff of Jaws, capitalizing on the 1975 film's immense success. It clearly worked, as Piranha spawned a sequel, a 1995 and 2010 remake, the latter even having a sequel of its own in 2012. Piranha was actually released a mere 2 months after Jaws 2. This Corman classic is a school of fun with a bunch of bad special effects. It's almost hard to believe that director Joe Dante would go on to direct the beloved film Gremlins. Regardless, you can catch these ferocious fish over on Peacock, Tubi, Pluto, Plex, Zumo, Sling, Philo, Fubu, AMC Plus, Redbox, Google Play, and Prime. Number 3. The Nest. The 1980 creature feature, The Nest, is based on Gregory A. Douglas' pulp horror fiction 1980 novel of the same name. The film was Terrence H. Winkless' first feature film and was produced by Roger Corman's wife, Julie Corman, who often doesn't receive enough credit for her work and influence on the productions she's worked on with her husband. The Nest also began Winkless' collaborations with the Cormans. The film revolves around the small town of Newport in New England that starts having a roach infestation. The townspeople, including the protagonist, Sheriff Richard Tarbell, aren't yet aware of the extent of said infestation. Something chewed away at bindings on library books. Bastards. And a dog was found with its flesh consumed, even revealing bone. Not before long, Newport is overrun with a roach infestation. Dr. Hubbard arrives in town to investigate the dog death, discovering it was a mutated cockroach by baiting one with a live cat. Yeah, I'm not a cat person, but this was pretty cruel. The roach and gore effects were pretty on point here. Winkless and screenwriter didn't pretend the nest was anything more than what it was, which is a ravenous, roach-infested bee melodrama. Interestingly enough, director Robert B. King would go on to create and produce, as well as write and direct episodes of CBS's hit award-winning legal drama, The Good Wife, with his wife. Winkless would go on to direct episodes of iconic kids' TV series, The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The Cormans really were known for launching careers. You can watch The Nest on Tubi, Prime, CW, and Plex. Number 4, The Slumber Party Massacre. The slash-tastic Slumber Party Massacre was released with mixed reviews in 1982, but would create a cult following and spawn an entire franchise. Director Amy Jones has had a long career working in many departments of filmmaking, including writer, director, and producer. And she's written the screenplays from everything from Beethoven, the movie about the giant dog, and Mystic Pizza, which was megastar Julia Roberts' first big screen role. Slumber Party Massacre involves, well, this one is really straightforward. A bunch of high school seniors prepare for a slumber party, and unbeknownst to them, an escaped serial killer is on the loose. His weapon of choice is a power drill. Screenwriter Rita Mae Brown actually intended the film to lampoon slashers, which you can definitely see given the amount of intentional humor. But since it was shot as a boilerplate slasher film, it occasionally feels more like a knockoff. Many a bookworm might recognize Rita Mae Brown as a prolific mystery author. Her most renowned series is the Miss Murphy Murder series. Miss Murphy is a cat that solves mysteries. At any rate, the thing about teens is that sometimes the only way to teach them anything is to drill it in their heads. And that's why you should go watch Slumber Party Massacre on Prime, Tubi, Pluto, Plex, Freevee, Zumo, Fubu, AMC+, Sling, Fandango, and Redbox. Number 5, Battle Beyond the Stars. 1980's Battle Beyond the Stars is Roger Corman's answer to a space opera, and it clearly has its moments. If The Magnificent Seven is a Western retelling of Akira Kurosawa's classic, The Seven Samurai, then The Battle Beyond the Stars is the sci-fi version in space. The film even includes screenwriters Akira Kurosawa, Shinobu Hashimoto, and Hideo Oguni as credited screenwriters. There is quite a bit of talent working on Battle Beyond the Stars. Director Jimmy Marukami had already been nominated for Academy Award for Best Animated Short. Legendary composer James Horner, who had already worked with Corman, scored the film. Groundbreaking filmmaker James Cameron contributed to production design. Battle Beyond the Stars even features prolific actor Robert Vaughn as Gelt, one of the 7 space warriors sent to protect the peaceful farm planet of Akira. It also features George Peppard, best known as leader Hannibal Smith from the hit TV series The A-Team, as Cowboy. Yes, just Cowboy. And John Saxon, who I know as Nancy Thompson's father from A Nightmare on Elm Street. If you like The Seven Samurai and The Magnificent Seven, I definitely recommend checking out The Battle Beyond the Stars on Peacock, Tubi, Pluto, Plex, Freevee, Prime, CW, and Fandango. Number 6, Demon of Paradise. The thing about Corman classics is that they don't have to be any good to be one. 1987's Demon of Paradise is a pretty shoddy production. Not to say that it wasn't a lot of fun. It opens with a bunch of rednecks in Hawaii, if you can believe it, fishing with dynamite and are attacked by the Kmart creature of the Black Lagoon. Although it takes place in Hawaii, it was filmed in the Philippines from, believe it or not, an award-winning Filipino director, Chris H. Santiago. The audio track and dubbing is pretty bad in Demon of Paradise. Then, in the film, the creature is referred to as an Akura, a mythological entity worshipped by the locals. The film implies that the creature is attacking because people have been polluting its home. So points to Corman for attempting an environmental theme during the 80s. Demon in Paradise follows Sheriff Kiefer and Annie, the herpetologist. Herpetologists study amphibians and lizards. Kiefer and Annie are investigating the boat attack and other mysterious deaths. However, you can watch it on Tubi, Zumo, and Prime. Number 7, Lords of the Deep. Lords of the Deep is a 1989 sci-fi film co-produced by Roger Corman. Frequent collaborator of Corman, Marianne Fletcher, took her turn in the director's chair for the first and only time for this film. Fletcher typically was a producer with Corman, occasionally taking on a crew or performer role. The opening title card for Lords of the Deep reads, "In the year 2020, man has used up and destroyed most of the Earth's resources." A little too on the nose? Lords of the Deep takes place in an advanced science laboratory under the sea, but nowhere to be seen are singing crustaceans or gungans, which is a little disappointing. But the film does have a psychic and a deep sea monsters, so that's cool. Honestly, the film is a bit trippy, but also a bit bland. This is a Roger Corman flick. Why is it PG-13? Give us that hard R rating. Interesting tidbit. Decorated Polish cinematographer Janusz Kaminski, who would win Academy Awards for his work on Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan, is an uncredited director of photography for Lords of the Deep. For those Jurassic Park fans, Kaminski also served as the cinematographer for Spielberg on The Lost World Jurassic Park and imbued it with a noir aesthetic. Janusz Kaminski worked on Lords of the Deep for a couple of weeks before Corman saw his footage and thought it looked too good for the film they were making. I hope this story is true because I appreciate Corman's candid self-awareness then. You can stream Lords of the Deep on Tubi, Zumo, Plex, and Prime. Number 8, Deathstalker. Roger Corman produced his own sword and sorcery film in 1983 called Deathstalker. The film is an English-Argentinian production also known as El Cazador de la Muerte, which literally translates to The Hunter of Death. It's the first of 10 films Corman would produce in Argentina. Deathstalker follows a snarkier Conan the Barbarian type warrior known as Deathstalker, and he is sent on a quest to collect 3 items so he can have ultimate power and save his kingdom, or something. Deathstalker kicks off as a campy live-action fetch quest that turns into a hack and slash. It becomes about Deathstalker's quest to partake in a tournament in which the winner inherits the king's kingdom. The film features the requisite boobs, ample amounts, and violence of a Corman film. It also features enough intentional humor as to not take itself too seriously. Admittedly, it's not always cohesive, and it was panned by critics. However, Deathstalker was a modest hit, grossing about $5 million on a $457,000 budget. Not too shabby, making over 10 times their production budget. It had enough of an audience to spawn 3 sequels and even an upcoming remake. Deathstalker was also written by Howard H. Cohen, who would work with Corman and or his wife on several projects. And trigger warning for those transphobic whiners, a man physically transitions into a woman in this. You can catch it on Tubi, Pluto, Plex, Freevee, Fubo, Philo, AMC Plus, Prime, Google Play, and Fandango. Number 9, Galaxy of Terror. 1981's Galaxy of Terror saw James Cameron in some of his earliest work as a production designer and visual effects artist. Several of his concepts for this film would inspire his work on the classic sci-fi sequel, Aliens, in 1986. Galaxy of Terror cinematographer Jacques Haitkin would also go on to collaborate with the legendary Wes Craven on his classic A Nightmare on Elm Street. Haitkin would also work as cinematographer, helping craft the film's brilliant visual aesthetic. Not only that, 80s horror icon and Freddy Krueger himself, Robert Englund, appears as a crew member. Galaxy of Terror follows a group of astronauts sent on a rescue operation to a spaceship stranded on a dangerous planet. They get more than they bargained for after they find dead crew members aboard and are attacked by a creature that's moving in the shadows. Not that Galaxy of Terror is a masterpiece by any means, but it's tonally far more serious than the standard Corman fare. The film had a far more impressive production design than usual that made good use of its small $1.8 million budget. Galaxy is an atmospheric creature feature and one of the better Alien knockoffs. You can watch it on Tubi, Philo, Pluto, Plex, Peacock, Fubu, Freevee, Fandango, AMC+, CW, Prime, Google Play, and YouTube. Number 10, Forbidden World. Corman's 1982 Forbidden World is often considered an Alien ripoff by critics, but I see it as more of a Star Wars ripoff if you look at a lot of its aesthetic. Granted, there's a lot more blood, guns, boobs, and buns in Forbidden World, but the film literally opens on a space dogfight with blasting lasers and a robot that looks like a stormtrooper. Later on, the cast also wears suits that suspiciously resemble Tusken Raiders in outdoors that look like Tatooine. Forbidden World was, at least to some extent, trying to capitalize on Star Wars' success, as it landed smack dab in the middle of the releases of The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. While Forbidden World is noticeably cheaper than either of those productions, it's not without its B-movie charm. Although it apparently reused material from previous Corman productions, which is a common practice for a Corman production, sets were repurposed from Galaxy of Terror and footage reused from Battle Beyond the Stars. Considering that Forbidden World was shot on a $1 million budget, it didn't look too shabby. It even won the Saturn Award for Best Special Effects. For a point of reference, The Empire Strikes Back cost $30 million. Forbidden World is labeled as a sci-fi erotic horror film, which in its case simply means there is unintentionally corny sex scenes attempting to be sensual, injected into a bloody horror film. Also, lots of casual nudity. The film follows Marshal Mark Colby, sent to investigate a genetic research operation on the planet Tatooine. I mean Zarbia. The scientists have developed a species called Subject 20, intended to reduce a galaxy-wide food shortage. Because even in a technologically advanced future, we still haven't solved starvation. Lame. Anyway, genetically engineered species never bode in horror films, and you can catch the gruesome results in Forbidden World on Prime, Tubi, Pluto, Plex, Freevee, Zumo, Fubu, CW, Sling, and Fandango. Thanks for checking out the video. Did we leave any films off the list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at StudiosFat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. We're also now on Blue Sky. You can find us at studiosfat.bsky.social, which will also link below. If you're really enjoying our content and want to help support us, click that join button for exclusive content, rewards, and perks. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we'd greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Jamie. Thanks again and take care.